Good morning. Today we have a new learning target. Our learning target today is I can write a unit fraction to represent the same area of each equal part of a whole shape. Now let's talk about a unit fraction for a second. We talked about these at the beginning of Module 13, but let's just review it a little bit. So a unit fraction is when our numerator is always 1 and our denominator is how many equal parts something is broken up into. So our numerator is 1 equal part of the whole shape. So let's just think about that. Unit fraction, I'm going to put that in my head. Unit fraction, 1's my numerator, equal parts is my denominator. Okay? So let's just remember that throughout this mini lesson that we're going to do. Rex plans to divide the pool into 6 equal parts and paint 1 part green. What unit fraction of the pool should Rex paint? So here's our question. What unit fraction of the pool should Rex paint? I need to remember that unit fraction. That's when my numerator is always 1. My denominator is how many equal parts I'm splitting a shape into, or how many equal parts this shape is already split into. So let's look at this again. Rex plans to divide the pool into 6 equal parts. So I'm just going to take my marker here and split it into 6 equal parts. Remember, this isn't going to be perfect because I'm drawing it in. So let's just, 6 equal parts. We're just going to pretend that that's completely equal because Miss Baker can't draw perfectly equal parts. So he paints 1 part, so 1 of the equal parts, green. So that, I'm going to put a G in one of those equal parts for green. So what unit fraction of the pool should Rex paint? Well, I know that my shape is divided into 6 equal parts. That's going to be my denominator. 6 equal parts. The equal parts goes on bottom. That's my denominator. And remember, when working with a unit fraction, our numerator is always going to be 1. Because how many parts did he paint green? 1 part. We have 1 part painted green. So what unit fraction of the pool should Rex paint? 1/6. 1 part out of these 6 equal pieces are going to be green. Now let's move on to this next question. Meg divides a circular shaped rug into equal parts. So we know right off the bat, it's all split into equal parts. How can you write the area of each part of Meg's rug as a unit fraction? So now we're taking what we know about unit fractions and just kind of breaking it down a little bit, just so we can remember what we're using for the denominator and for the numerator. So the first part is finding the denominator. How many equal parts are in the whole? So I'm going to go over to my rug. Let's pretend that Miss Baker drew this perfectly equal and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know that my denominator is going to be 6 because my rug is split into 6 equal parts. So 6. Then they want me to find the numerator. How many parts are being counted? I know that they're asking me, how can you write the area of each part? So out of these 6 parts, each of them is 1. So how many parts are being counted? 1 part. So the area of each part, notice when they're saying each, we're talking about every single one of these. If I'm just counting each of them, so 1 part of them, the area of each part of Meg's rug is going to be 1 sixth. Lastly, we're switching it up. We're going to use a triangle for this one. They want me to divide the shape into 2 equal areas. What unit fraction names each equal part of the shape? So let's just reread that. Make sure we're getting all that important information. Divide the shape into 2 equal areas. Then, box in my question, what unit fraction names each equal part of the shape? Well, I know if I'm splitting it into 2 equal areas, I know my denominator is going to be 2, because that's how many equal parts I'm going to have. Now, remember, they need to be equal. So if I were to cut these 2 shapes out after I split it in half, they would be able to fold over each other perfectly symmetrically. So if I were to cut it this way, if I were to flip it over, would that match up? Would that make 2 equal parts? No. So I need to make sure I start right here in the middle and divide that triangle into those 2 equal parts. Now they're asking me, what's the unit fraction? What names each equal part? So say I'm just talking about this part right here. If I were to shade this a different color, what would that fraction be? Well, 1 out of 2 would be a different color. So my unit fraction for naming each equal part of the shape would be 1/2. So that's what you guys are doing today, and I want you to just remember that when you're working with unit fractions, your numerator is going to be 1, and your denominator is going to be however many equal parts your shape is divided up into. So good luck on your assignment, and I hope you do a great job.